Prime Minister Tusk, my friend Donald, I very much appreciate your warm hospitality that you've shown to me, to the ministers of the Israeli government, and to my delegation. I appreciate your friendship to my country, to my people, and to me personally. I think I've made about half a dozen visits to Poland. Each time I come here, I'm impressed with the tremendous increase in the standard of living, in the achievements of Poland as a country and as a society against sometimes very difficult odds. But you have shown great initiative, great success, and it reminds me of my own country. And each time that we meet, I am impressed with both with your friendship to me personally, but also your deep sympathy to the Jewish people and the Jewish state. You know, I told you over our meetings that my father, my late father, was born in Warsaw in 1910. And this was when my grandfather came here to be the head of Hebrew studies in the great Jewish school, the most eminent Jewish school in Warsaw at the time. My father studied in that school. And Warsaw was a great center of Jewish learning, of Jewish culture, of Jewish life. So the histories of our two people are intertwined over 1,000 years in great achievement, great beauty, as you just said correctly, and also great tragedy. The murder of millions of Jews by the Nazis on Polish soil is a crime that has no parallel in history. And tomorrow I will participate in the opening of the Jewish exhibit at Auschwitz-Birkenau. We will never forget the victims of the Holocaust. We will never forget the ultimate crime against humanity. We'll never forget the crime perpetrated against our people. And we will never forget our obligation to prevent this from ever happening again. I would like to thank you, Donald, personally, and the Polish government for your support of this important project of remembrance, and also for your support of the Jewish Museum in Warsaw. I know your own personal involvement in this, and it's something that is important to set history right and to give justice to those who deserve it. I think this is a moral act and an important act in today's world which seeks to deny the Holocaust. We know that during those years of horror, the Nazi invasion brought terrible suffering to the Polish people. And we stand here today when both our peoples have overcome adversity. Today we see a strong and free Poland and a strong and free Israel. Genuine democracies are in the world, but there's no question that Poland and Israel are among them, and I think not coincidentally we're two prosperous, free, democratic societies that have a common and vested interest with each other. We're both shaped by our past, and we're both focusing together on shaping our future. And the future in this fast-changing technological world belongs to those who can innovate. And that is why I'm here today in Warsaw. I believe we have much to gain by strengthening our cooperation. We have free economies and a proven capacity for enterprise and technological achievement. This is the key to competitive advantage in today's world and in tomorrow's world. We cooperate in all these areas, in the economy, in science, in trade, and on the level of people, youth exchanges, as you mentioned, education, culture. And we also cooperate in diplomacy and security. On security and on defense matters, you correctly said that we have constantly improved our cooperation. We'll continue to do so. And in the quest for peace, we share a common desire. Both Poland and Israel want peace. Everyone in Israel wants peace. I want peace. To achieve peace, we must negotiate peace. And this is why we both support the efforts of the American Secretary of State, John Kerry, to restart the peace negotiations. We want to see this American effort succeed. Israel is ready for the resumption of direct negotiations for peace without preconditions. I think it's time to stop squabbling over preconditions. I think it's time to stop negotiating about the negotiations. I think we have to start peace talks immediately. My goal is to see a historic compromise that ends the conflict between Israelis and Palestinians once and for all. This will entail a demilitarized Palestinian state that recognizes the Jewish state with ironclad security arrangements for Israel. Recognition, security, demilitarization. I believe that these are the elements for peace. I don't pose them as preconditions for negotiations. I look forward to enter those negotiations without preconditions, without delay. I am ready for such a peace. I hope the Palestinians are ready too. Prime Minister, we both agree on the importance of preventing Iran from achieving a nuclear weapons capability. And we agree that pressure on Iran must be significantly increased. Recently, as we just spoke, we've all seen what happens when a rogue regime enters the nuclear age. In East Asia, vis-à-vis North Korea, tough talk and sanctions were not enough. The same is true of Iran, which is much more dangerous than North Korea. To stop Iran's nuclear ambitions, sanctions alone will not be enough. They must be coupled with a credible military threat. The Iranian regime must understand that one way or the other, it will be prevented from completing its nuclear weapons program. As for the so-called elections taking place in Iran this week, some elections, they decide who the candidates are. That's an interesting concept, but we're not going to adopt it. So as for these so-called elections taking place in Iran this week, well, unfortunately, they will change nothing of significance. This regime will continue to be led by one man, one ruler, who will continue Iran's quest for nuclear weapons. This is a regime that sponsors terrorism around the world, that actively participates in the murder in Syria, that is building ICBMs to reach Europe and America, and that seeks to control the energy markets of the world and the flow of Middle East oil. On top of all this is a regime that is building nuclear weapons with the express purpose to annihilate Israel's 6 million Jews. We will not allow this to happen. We will never allow another Holocaust. On Syria, both our countries are concerned about the terrible carnage occurring in that country. Israel is not a party to the internal conflict in Syria, but Israel will defend itself if attacked, and we reserve the right to act if our national security is threatened. Ladies and gentlemen, Poland and Israel agree that terrorism must be defeated. Recently, we've seen terrorist operations on European soil, In Bulgaria, innocent tourists were murdered in a brutal attack initiated, planned, and carried out by Hezbollah. In Cyprus, local authorities arrested a Hezbollah operative that was in the process of planning an identical attack. Hezbollah Iranian terrorism is not limited to Europe. We see it across the globe, in the Middle East, in Africa, in Asia, even in the United States of America. So today, Europe faces the question of whether to officially define Hezbollah as a terrorist organization. What a question. If Hezbollah isn't a terrorist organization, I don't know what a terrorist organization is. But it's not just an Israeli problem. Hezbollah has murdered innocent civilians on European soil. And Europe cannot, must not be indifferent to this. Prime Minister Tusk, Donald, both Poland and Israel have fought hard for our independence and freedom. We take neither for granted. Working together, I think we can